It's a DACCAST. It's a DACCAST. It's a DACCAST. DACCCAST. Cause I said it's a DACCAST. It's a DACCAST. It's a DACCAST. DACCAST. DACCCAST. DACCCAST.
You're listening to DACCAST, produced by students of Danville Area Community College. And now your hosts, Kia and Keegan.
Yo, it's Kia and Keegan here from the basement of the clock tower.
Here on DACCAST, we get to know the familiar faces we see on campus in hopes that students at DACC and members of the community get to know each other a little better.
With that being said, we are here with the athletic director of Danville Area Community College, Tim Bunton. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're
Good.
great.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us your role here at DACC. What exactly do you do?
Tim Bunton, athletic director here at DACC. Been here, this is year 26, so
Wow.
It's been a great place to work, and so it's nice to be on with you guys.
Gotcha.
I personally don't know what an athletic director's day looks like. So
I don't either.
You don't?
No, I'm teasing. That's the great thing about it, to be honest with you, that you don't know different things. I just got off a meeting with other league ADs this morning, talking about COVID issues and protocols and trying to get fans back in the stands and umpires and assigners and fees and different sports. So you don't really have a routine. It's just something new every day. But it's making sure all of our sports are lined up, ready to go every day, and that includes being in line with the national office guidelines, eligibility rules, kids in class, making sure they're in 12 hours. Could go on, but it's what's also great about it too, because it's not the same routine every day.
Yeah. So you work with all the sports at DACC, right?
Just kind of oversee them. I mean, I think we've let our coaches coach. That's why we hire them. They run their teams. But yes, I work with all the sports that we have: basketball, softball, baseball, golf, men and women, and cross country. So it's travel issues. It's making sure schedules, officials are paid. But yes, we work with all of them.
And so you saw when DACC got their golf. What do you call it?
Yes, I was there
Golf
when we
team,
let
but
it
what is it
go
called?
and
It's like-
was there when we brought it back. And it
Yeah.
was very disappointing when it was let go. It's our longest, one of the longest sports in the history of the school. We played back in the 60s, so it was very sad to see it go when it did, but was very thrilled to bring it back because it belongs here on campus. Along with the women's golf, it was great to add a new program as well.
So how long was it gone for?
Now you're testing me. Probably 4 or 5 years, somewhere
4 or
in that
5 years.
range. It was a difficult time, but extremely excited that it's back.
Yeah. Did you think it kind of surprised you how many people were wanting to be on the team? Or
To be on the team,
yeah, like since it was gone, it went away. You know.
well,
sometimes
it was
people-
always an interest with golf in the area, so that didn't
Yeah.
surprise me. But it probably surprised me that the disappointment of people that it did go away. But it was
Interesting.
just, again, really nice that it's back because
Yeah.
it belongs in our department and school.
Yeah. So what is your goal for a DACC athlete when they step on campus? What is your role with them?
To get a degree, my role or the goal? The role is just make sure our coaches are making sure they're in class and push them in their particular sport to make them better, because most of them, as Keegan knows, being a baseball player, they want to come in here, they want to get their education, but they also want to compete at the highest level possible at the sport they're participating in. So you try to hire coaches that have the same goals as the kids, and I think we've done that with the basketballs. We got Coach Gerard from Loyola. We've got Coach Harris from Niagara. We've got softball from University of Illinois and Coach Cervantes.
Yeah.
Coach Hicks is from Quincy University. So our coaches have had the experience that we want these kids to go through. But the goal is to get an education first
Yeah.
and foremost. And I think a lot of the kids that come here have the aspirations and are probably looking to go to a higher level school. That's why they're here. Maybe they haven't gotten the attention they thought they should have received coming out of high school, where I think this gives them another avenue to go still reach their highest potential athletic-wise and get playing time and drill work and an education in a smaller atmosphere.
Gotcha. Okay, so shifting gears, getting into your background, you graduated from Missouri State,
Yes.
correct? So take us through your time there as a student and as an athlete.
Yeah, it was great. Went there, walked on at Missouri State baseball. I had an older brother that had gone there, so I was aware of the program, but I loved Springfield, Missouri. Redshirted 1 year, so I was a player, part of that for 5 years. And then after graduation, I jumped on the coaching staff there as a student assistant, grad assistant, whatever you deem it. And it was wonderful. It was 10 years in that program. It's probably why I'm here today. I always knew I wanted to coach. And Coach Keith Gutton, who is still there, he's in his 39th year there now, so was a big influence on me and probably helped me get here. So.
Gotcha.
Just a great place to go to school and compete in athletics.
And you led the Danville Dans for a long time, didn't you?
7 summers. That's how I came to Danville. I was a volunteer, grad assistant at Missouri State. And coach one day at practice said there's a job in Danville open. I didn't know where Danville was.
But as most people.
Looked into it, and yeah, that's how I came to Danville, was to do the Danville Dans.
Gotcha. So you started the program from scratch. There wasn't a baseball team on campus, correct?
It had been dropped in 82. The
Wow.
school had baseball from like 68, 67 to 82, and it was dropped, and then they brought it back in the fall of 95.
Okay.
Wow.
So I got to, it was a 13 to 14-year layoff.
So what was that like trying to get it up and running again?
It was crazy. It was fun. It was hectic. It was nerve-wracking. I was still in Springfield. We were actually at a regional in Fresno, California. We had made a regional in 95, so that was May of 95. So I was trying to put together a team when they hired me in May of 95 to get, 20 players in here by August.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty hard when you weren't there. And then I had the Dans on top of it, so I didn't have any nights to go out and recruit and physically see kids. So it was a lot of phone conversations of people I knew through the game. And we had, I think, 18 or 19 players on that first team. And we weren't very good. I think we won 14 games. We were 14-29, but it's still one of my favorite groups of people to this day. I mean, they laid the foundation for, I think, a program that goes about it the right way and did it the right way. And we didn't win a lot of games, but boy, those kids competed. And it was a fun group to be around. Still stay in touch with a lot of those kids.
Gotcha.
So looking back from now to when you first started, I mean, does that bring any emotions to see, how much that's developed in so many years?
Yeah, and I've been blessed that the school's allowed me to do that. But
Yeah.
to see the kids move on to a 4-year school and come in, having goals and then when they go succeed with those. And it's not even about playing for me. It's about, they're so different, and Keegan can attest to this, when they come in as freshmen to when they leave as sophomores. I always say they're kids when they come in and they're young men when they leave. And it's just the way they go about their everyday life with school, with, they say as freshmen that I studied for 3 hours in the library last night. Well, they really didn't. They may have gone to the library for 3 hours, but they didn't study. Now they get in as sophomores knowing that they want to move on to a 4-year school, and just how they go about their everyday life is really neat.
Okay, so this was a question that Keegan and I had discussed as well as our source
Yes.
of information.
Yes.
The question is, who is the most famous person you know or have coached? So you coached
'Cause you've got a lot
coached
of
with,
connections.
or you coached them personally, or
Well, it's probably Bill Miller is the answer.
That's what Andy
Okay.
told us.
Bill Miller won a World Series with the Boston Red Sox, was the starting third baseman. So
Oh, wow.
I was a fifth-year senior playing second base, and he was a freshman playing third base. So we played together on the same team in the spring of 1990, and then when I was done playing, I jumped on the coaching staff, so I had the privilege of coaching the infielders, and he was still a player for 3 more years. Yeah, a wonderful player, wonderful guy. Still stay in touch with him, and that's probably the biggest one I know.
yeah.
So,
Any other ones?
A special shout out to Coach Hicks. You
Oh.
didn't get to know Kiermaier very well.
I think Coach Hicks knew Kiermaier better than me. Yeah, a really good player.
Yeah.
I think that ball's still going.
Yeah,
maybe
just a
not.
little backstory. Clayton Hicks, who's the head coach on the baseball team now, who played at DACC, faced Kevin Kiermaier, who's now playing for the Rays, I believe. Yes,
Correct.
the Rays, and he hit just an absolute bomb off of Coach Hicks, and Coach Bunton still gives him like scuff about it today.
It still hasn't landed.
Yeah, the ball still hasn't landed. It's been 10 years, probably.
Probably around that
It's
time.
probably in orbit now. Okay.
And
But
so,
let me give Coach Hicks a little credit. Highly competitive guy
Yeah.
that could pitch.
Yeah, gotcha.
Made a mistake, and Kiermaier hit it.
he's never going to live down that mistake.
No, you won't.
Okay, and so you said you were a fifth year, and that was in college, right?
Yes.
And not high school.
Maybe I went five
Yeah,
to high
exactly.
school, too.
How was high school for you? So that was in the St. Louis area?
That was in Springfield, Missouri. I'm from the St. Louis area, but that was 3 hours southwest in Springfield.
Okay. And how was your time there?
In Springfield?
Yeah.
It was great. My wife, that's where I met my wife. She went to school there too, so we love Springfield.
Do you have a backstory on how you met your wife?
We have a backstory. That,
Yeah. I was in charge of the Batgirls, and she was a Batgirl.
Yeah.
That's the backstory. No, she became a Batgirl, and then a couple years after she was done, I ran into her, and that's how we met again.
Did I hear you had to interview her for her
I did have to
position?
interview her. I didn't know that at the time as a player. I knew we had Batgirls. I didn't know how they came about being a Batgirl, and then
Yeah.
I was done playing, and the coaches told me that I was in charge of the Batgirls now, and I didn't know what I was doing, and they told me, so we had to do interviews.
Wait, what does an interview look like for a Batgirl?
Just sit down and ask why you're interested in being a Batgirl. It was-
Really?
It was pretty informal. Yeah.
I was going to say.
If they wanted to be a Batgirl, they were a Batgirl.
Okay, that makes sense. And then you also have a background in golf?
Not a
Oh, you-
lot.
more of a.
I
you
mean, I
love to
play golf. Yeah, I used to play golf all the time. I don't play as much anymore due to just kids and
Yeah.
don't love it as much as I used to. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy playing. There's no doubt.
Yeah, you played that for a while.
I did.
So I played golf in high school, and it's a mental challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think that's why I don't play anymore, because I was just so aggravated with the sport.
It can drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see playing it for like a majority of my life. I think that would just cause a lot of anger issues.
Maybe not. It is fun to go play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't take it as serious as I used to. Used to take it real serious and want to shoot the best score and get mad, and those days are over.
Realized it was never gonna happen.
It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So we heard that you had 6 siblings, or you have. 6
I do have 6 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yes.
And also that it was a huge sports family and everyone is involved in sports.
We were. It was just the way our family was. My dad was involved in youth sports, as president of football and Little League Baseball. And so we were always running around with them. But, yeah, it was something that was important to us, and we were always on the go to a game.
Yeah,
I was gonna
that's-
say break down a weekly schedule for us.
What's
Especially
funny
at
is
your
schedule.
parents.
That was my job. I'm right in the middle, so I was in charge of producing a calendar with a poster board and making the calendar, and I'd write all the kids'
That's
schedules.
awesome.
So we put it on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I don't know how my mom and dad did it. With 7 of us playing.
Yeah.
That's
I think
insane.
at one time my mom took a picture in the summer. There were 10 teams that we were playing on because 2 of my brothers were playing on 2 teams. So she had a
Wow.
picture of all the jerseys hanging. It was laundry for her, keeping those clean.
I
But
can only imagine.
So was it then when you're scheduling games for your family that you realized as the middle child, you're like, I think I could be an athletic
Yeah,
director?
exactly.
You know,
I
I
would do
never-
this for a
Give it a little
living.
I never had a goal of being an athletic director. I really didn't. I wanted to coach. I knew that. It just kind of presented itself down this avenue. It was. I thought I was going to go be the next biggest coach in the country and go as high as I could, and then I realized when I got here, I just loved it here, and this was the level for me. It was
Yeah.
a way to impact young people and still move them on and get to places that maybe I had had an opportunity to be, and I wasn't at the highest level by any means, but just to fulfill their goals that way.
Yeah. So how long after you took the job did you also get the director job?
Oh, goodness. It's been, I didn't. I was a stipend coach here, part-time. I
Yeah.
substitute taught. I did lessons. I taught weightlifting at 6 o'clock in the morning. I did anything I could to supplement income to allow me to coach here. So the head coaching position here was just a part-time position.
Okay.
So I think I became full-time in the department 3 or 4 years into it.
Okay.
And then Coach Spezia, who was the athletic director here for a long time, I think left in 06, 07 is when I took over.
Okay. Gotcha.
I was here the longest, and I was the only dummy left, I guess, to take it.
Just shoved you into the
Said,
position.
do you want this? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then a crazy story. So you worked security for the St. Louis Rams?
Where are you guys getting all this information?
That was the one that I
Oh,
was gonna be
everywhere.
mad if I forgot to tell you.
I did. One of my best friends growing up, since I was probably age 6 or 7, was head of security for the St. Louis Rams. So I knew that when he was in that position, but he called me on like a Wednesday, and I think it was 2012. And I said, hey, what's going on, Steve? And he just says, don't ask me any questions. You're coming into St. Louis and you're going to Cleveland with us. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I need an extra security guard or security person to go with us to Cleveland. We're playing the Browns this week. And I said, you want me to be a security person for the NFL? And he said, that's a question. I told you not to ask me any questions. So I said, well, I have to ask my wife. I asked Mary Ellen. The boys were younger, and they were fired up. Oh, you got to go. So I did. I went into St. Louis and flew with them to Cleveland and did a security type position. And then I did it for probably a year and a half.
Really?
Which it was a blast. I got to go to London with them. So when they
Yeah.
played the Patriots and Tom Brady in London, I made that trip, was over there a week.
Wow.
It's not security like you think. I wasn't protecting Sam Bradford or Steven Jackson.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
It
Were
was-
you like protecting the bathroom stalls or something?
A lot of it is hotel stuff. It was
Yeah.
just protecting the floors, making sure nobody got on that floor that wasn't supposed to be. It was TSA certified. You would wand the players before you left. You'd board the airplane. So it was, and then on game day, when the game started, you had some freedom, but it was getting buses prepared that they were in and just making sure areas were secure more than anything. It was fun. It was a lot of time. The funny story I tell is I worked Monday Night Football in Seattle. I took Monday off work from here. I went in Saturday to fly out because I always flew 2 days ahead when they flew west. And the game Monday night took place. Got everything, landed in St. Louis at 4. Drove straight from St. Louis to my office here at Mary Miller in the same attire I had on at the game. And Coach Carpenter, our men's basketball coach at the time, when I walked in the office, he goes, weren't you in Seattle last night? I said, yeah. And I was in the same, but I didn't take Tuesday off work, so
Yeah.
I needed to be there by 8 a.m., and I was.
Wait, did this just happen once or did this happen?
That was once with that scenario, Monday Night Football, but
Okay. So how often did you do this?
just road games for them whenever I could. I mean, I got to go to Cleveland, Seattle, Dallas, Miami, different places.
Pretty cool.
So my good friend Brian Henskin, who works here on campus, did it with me. So, and he did it longer than I did. He kept doing it after I was done. It was just a lot of travel in terms
Yeah.
of driving to St. Louis and then getting back so late and
Yeah.
trying to run a baseball team. And it wasn't fair to them that I was gone sometimes. But
Yeah.
it was a cool experience. I mean,
And
I love that I had the opportunity to do
A
it.
year and a half is quite a bit of time for that too.
Yeah, a year and a half means just whenever they were on the road, I went in. I wasn't with them. I didn't
Yeah.
really work for them. I just helped a friend out.
Okay.
Is that how you met Brian?
No, Brian and Laura Henskin and I go back when we first came in 95. We met back then.
Gotcha.
So, going back when you talked about how you got to Danville and you just realized you fell in love with it, what was it about the town and the area that made you really fall in love with it?
Yeah, it just grows on you. It's just a neat town. It's some's good, some's bad. Everybody knows everybody in one way or another, which is good and bad. But it's just, I don't know. The people cared about you. They cared about what you were doing. There's no traffic. It just, I growing up in St. Louis, and it's not a huge LA or New York, but it was just different. It was more a pace that I wanted to deal with. And Mary Ellen loved it too, and her job, and so it was something that we felt it was a good place to raise a family.
So, speak on that and her role in the Danville community.
Yeah, she's the curriculum coordinator now for District 118. So, but she started as a teacher, just teaching kids and has worked her way up to, it's something that she always wanted to do. She misses the classroom dearly. She would, I think, like to be back in the classroom someday, but
Yeah.
she always had a goal to be involved with curriculum in a district, and an opportunity presented itself, I don't know, 7-10 years ago, and she interviewed, and she's been in that position. So
What does the past year look like for her?
it's crazy, for a lot of people, but it's probably been difficult with that role with all curriculum people across the country.
Yeah.
A lot of Zoom calls. I know when we were, quote, shut down, the people in those roles were not shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was constant every day, up early on Zoom calls trying to figure it out. And I think everyone's still trying to figure it out. So it's just, but at the same time, she loves it. I mean, that's her passion, and that's what she always wanted to do.
Gotcha.
Not in this environment,
Yeah,
but
no. There's nothing good about this.
no.
So, 25 years here as a head coach for DACC, 7 with the Dans and 5 with Missouri State.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Well, 5 as a coach, yes.
Yes. So you had a lot of experience, and so you handed the ball over to Coach Hicks coming into this season. What was one piece of advice you gave to Clayton?
Just be him. Just do it his way. He's gone out too. Like went out in the summer with the Danville team. He had gone out to Quincy. He had played in Terre Haute. He had been to Hannibal. We all have our own ideas, right? I mean, we're all influenced by teachers, coaches, friends, parents' friends, and there may be something you don't like. There's probably stuff he doesn't like that I did. Then don't use it. Learn that you don't like it that way. Just do it your way, and I think that's what he's tried to do. I've tried to stay out of the way, as you probably know. I don't come around as much, and I do miss it a little, but he just needs to do it the way he wants to do it.
Gotcha.
Because he's worked for it and he's planned for it.
Gotcha. So when you were in the role of head baseball coach or in the role of athletic director, what was one thing you had to learn the hard way and kind of adjust to that you kind of maybe didn't expect when you started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I realized just starting at the head coach how much went into it. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to be an assistant on staff, as I was at Missouri State, and you show up and you're handed a practice plan, and you have just infielders to work with, and then all of a sudden you're the head person, and it's just the organization, the prep work. It's a good question, because when I left Missouri State, I asked my head coach what's one thing of advice you would give me, and he just said 10% of your day is going to be on the field, which is what we want to do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
90% that's the other stuff. So the thing is just, classes, problems, kids not going to class, the practice plan, the preparation, the hotels, the meals, the equipment, the right size jersey. It's just that stuff was on the fly. But that's also why we go out in the summer leagues to get that. The summer leagues are just 2 months. They're in the summer. So when you're a head coach in the summer, it kind of preps you from those types of things on how you eat, how you go to the game, are you dressed when you enter the parking lot. Just a lot of simple things that you get that experience with the summer positions.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned a lot, was in the summer.
Gotcha. So another question, and when you told us that you were leaving, you told us you had a lot of goals for the athletic department. So where do you see DACC athletics 5 years down the road?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would love for facilities to improve, and I think we're working on that, and just continue to. I'm not a social media person. I'm not on it, but I think it's something that we've gradually gotten better in the department through work of Coach Cervantes and sports information and listening to our head coaches. So it's just staying up with the times, and that's help from all of our coaches. But I think the biggest thing is probably trying to stay up with facilities, because we are getting beat in that area a little bit with our league.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so we heard from Andy that you
Sorry about that.
that you are nearing retirement.
Well, I don't know of how close I am. I'm in my 50s, so yeah.
Andy was like, he's so old, he should be
Yeah.
getting up there.
It'll be 30 years and 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I'm not ready for that yet. But
No.
it's.
So if I were to ask you, what are your goals after retirement, or what's your plans after this role you're playing now? Would you have an answer?
I think if I had to give you one, I don't, as I stepped away from the game here at DACC, I don't think I'm done with the game. I would love to get back in as an assistant down the road, maybe a volunteer again, helping a 4-year school and being an infield coach somewhere.
Yeah.
It was just time for me to step away here. It had run its course. The voice had been heard, and now it needed a new voice. That was just the way I felt about it. So,
Yeah.
But I do love the game, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's specifically what I would do, but I could see myself getting back into it in an assistant role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any place where you don't have to drive the vans.
Oh. Well, you guys are chartering anyway this year, so it's kind of weird. That is one of the reasons I let it go too, was driving. It was 25 years of driving minibuses and vans, and it's
Not a fan?
It can wear on
Yeah,
you.
you got a lot of mileage.
And but we are chartering this year with our teams due to COVID and some other things, which is great. It's kind of weird that I step away and now
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
charter. But that's the things I also wanted to do, was to the simple thing of
Yeah.
that, and Keegan can tell you, is it's a big thing for these kids,
It
for all
is.
athletes. Instead of sitting on a mini bus where you're cramped, you're on a charter bus. If you have to use the bathroom, there's one on it. It's a nice recruiting tool to have, honestly, that we can
is.
tell our athletes coming in that we are going to charter places.
Yeah.
We're now going to move on to our rapid fire question segment called DACC Attack.
1, 2, 3, 4. Deck attack, 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 deck attack.
You mean that's it?
Blues or Cardinals?
Blues,
Mornings or evenings?
evenings,
Baseball or hockey?
baseball,
Ooh,
Emma or Bruce?
those are his
Bruce.
dogs.
Yes, he just had to choose between his dogs.
that's hard.
It is hard.
Pitcher or hitter?
Hitter. Don't deal with pitchers.
LaRussa or Berube?
Berube,
Summer or winter?
summer,
Eat in or dine out?
dine out,
Beach or mountains?
beach.
Joey or Andy? You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I can't answer that one.
Oh, but you have to.
I do? Nah.
He's not.
Because
Can't-
it'll get back to one of them. And
Yeah,
I'm in trouble.
exactly.
Well, Andy's probably going to be the one that's going to hear this. So now Joey's not going to
Exactly.
hear this podcast.
Weigh your audience here, you know?
Yeah. No, I'll
I think he's saying Andy.
not answer that one.
I think he's saying Andy.
Joey and Andy.
And lastly, charcoal grill or gas grill?
Charcoal.
You looked like you were struggling more with that one than the
Yeah.
kids one.
I love the grill. But I have a gas grill, but I do love charcoal better. But gas just makes more sense.
So what is it about grilling that you love?
I don't
'Cause
know. I grew up with it. Dad always did it, and that was kind of some of our meals. He'd grill a lot of food, and then for the week we'd have it in the fridge. I like being outside. I like having friends over, and like cooking on the grill.
He has very famous burgers. They're delicious. I've had them before.
Do you have like an apron and all? Like, did your
I
wife
don't.
get you an apron for Christmas like 7 years ago?
No, can you believe that? I think I'd have an apron by now.
What a
I
shame.
don't have an apron
Wow.
or a hat.
Nothing?
No.
No chef's
Spatula with like
I
the,
have that.
like the iron thingy built in that you can make like shapes and logos.
No, I don't have that. I'm a simple griller.
All right. Thank you, Tim, so much for being here. We really appreciated having you. We had a lot of fun.
This was fun. I appreciate you guys having me on.
I know very little about baseball, so you guys did great in
Yeah,
this
we
episode.
did good. I think we did pretty good.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been the DACCAST with Kia and Keegan.
Stay classy, Jaguars.